Dear viewers, wherever you are, hello and welcome to this new episode of your program, Spectra. Education and seeking better education is one of the major goals for everyone, for themselves and their offspring. Because education is seen by a lot of people as an end in its own, because better education means a better mind, a more sane, and a mind that can do better reasoning. Also, education is seen as a means for a better status in society and for getting a better job. So, seeking better education is one of the major goals that a lot of new immigrants have on their list when coming to their new adoptive countries. But as a lot of them arrive here, they meet a sort of an unpleasant surprise, in their opinion. Because when their child comes back from school and the parents ask them, according to their classic view of education, how much homework did you get and what did you learn today, expecting that the child will bombard them and will shower them with a lot of homework and a lot of things they learned today, because after all, Canada is one of the 7 most industrial and most advanced countries in the world. And to them, better education is directly proportional to more information and more stuffing. So, on the contrary of what they believe, their child tells them that you didn't take anything. I have no homework. So they're really surprised and they say, you know what? That's not what we signed for. It's a lot of scam and it's spam, and we've been, tricked by Canadian government. Is that so? Well, to find out, really delighted to be accompanied today by Iman Zewer. And Iman Zewer is a person who worked in a lot of educational positions in many schools here in Canada, and she also has a master's degree from Canada in educational management. Iman, hello and welcome to the program.
Hello, Mohammed. I'm really pleased to be with you today. And the introduction was really full of many terms that I will be happy to talk about it with you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure having you. And to start off, like in the beginning, I talked about education being a means and and an end in its own. How do you define education, in your opinion? Like, what is education? What is the purpose of education?
Okay, education is a tool, and the view of the Canadian, or as we say, the school's mission in the Canadian uh, perception, is that education is a tool that we're going to have at the end of this tool a well-being citizen who really can serve the society, and this citizen will have an important role in his community. This is how the Canadian perception of the education. And to have this kind of citizen at the end of, let's say, a grade 12, you need to have many, to build up the personality of this citizen. And so it is a tool to build the personality.
Okay, so the target or the goal of education here is very different, because you talked about the Canadian perception of education.
Mhm.
They would perceive education as the basic mean of building a citizen, a free
Mhm.
citizen in a democratic society.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we build that citizen? What are the elements that are involved in building that citizen? What are the ingredients of this magic recipe, really?
I like really the term magic recipe because it is a magic recipe. And the Canadian education, they used two very important uh, base for this magic recipe. One of them is the values. This is one of the important parts of the Canadian education. In all the systems in all the provinces, first thing they teach their students in the values, okay? Because it's very important part to create a good citizen. Second thing, communication. When you build a personality, you need to teach this citizen how he will use the tool that you are giving him, how he will communicate with others, so how he will transform this information that he is getting at school, and from and out of it get a very important outcome to use it in the society.
So it's basically character building. So
Exactly.
basically here we're talking about character building.
Mm-hmm.
Building someone who can analyze and someone who will not take anything for granted. And there's there is no ultimate truth. Everything is out there is open to analysis and open to discussion and open to doubt as well.
This is what we call critical thinking. It's they teach the student the critical thinking. Yeah.
And this is a basic thing that started in the West a very long time ago with the Age of Enlightenment, after the Renaissance, and so on. And it's like we have someone like René Descartes, for example, like he said, like, I think, therefore I am. Je pense, donc je suis. Like he's like, like if I don't think, I do not exist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, very important part of being a human being is to utilize the intellectual energy and their cognitive skills, analyze things. Now, okay, but somebody might tell you, okay, character building is a great thing and everything is good and so on. But at the end of the day, to be educated and to work in a field, you must have a lot of information in your head and you must process this information. When do you get that? Because for a lot of people, like for instance, students who might be coming from India, for instance, or like China, whatever, they might say, like my child is in grade 4 or 5, but the stuff he's taking is similar to the stuff that children in my country would take in grade 2 or 3. So when are you expecting that child to get this information?
I don't agree on the fact that what we take here in Canada at schools in grade 4 or 5, it is what they take in other countries like Egypt, for example, in grade 2 or 3. No, it's the way that the student is getting this knowledge, how it is built up during time, during experience, and how he is learning all this. So it's not by the quantity, it's the quality. So, and the quality that will permit the same student to use it again. It's not like the old, let's say, magistral teaching. It's the lesson, and we have the students, and the student will go home and will learn everything by heart, and then come the second day. This is not the way that it works anymore. So we have to teach the student how he will survive many experiences in life, and during these experiences he has to use certain kind of knowledge that he was able to discover at school. So it's completely a different, like I said in the beginning, it's a different perception. So these kind of parents, when they come here to Canada, they have to understand that it's a different world. This is not the way that we teach in schools here. So they have to be open to accept, to discover by themselves the new way. So this is why many schools, they invite parents. I think all the schools, they do this, the open day, to invite parents to attend classes, to understand. They give them introduction. They explain to them that it's a different way of learning. So it's not by the quantity, it's the quality.
And I'd like you please to shed some light on a very important term in education, which is summative versus formative assessment. So tools of assessment that are, really differentiate between very classic versus the modern way of education.
Yeah, the assessment way here, it's different tools. We use different tools. So one of the tools is the communication. And 25% is based on how the student can communicate the information that he already was learning in the classroom through experience, through different presentations, through discussions with other students. So he has to be able at the end to show that he is capable of bringing back all this knowledge and to show in different ways. It's not, the quiz is not just a pen and a paper. It doesn't work like this anymore. So it can be a presentation, it can be an experience that he will show many things. And this is one of the problems that we face with parents. Sometimes the kid will go home and will say, oh, today I did a quiz. And the parents will think the quiz, they will receive a paper with all the answers. No, it's not this way. So they receive at the end a grid explaining what the student did. And for them, okay, what are the answers?
Yeah, for them, the whole notion, and if you can please simplify these terms that I'm mentioning here. So, like, ongoing assessment,
Yeah.
it's not just, like a big midterm, a big final, and that's it. It's
Yeah.
ongoing assessment. So mini quizzes here and there. These are like, taken in consideration. Another thing is like, observation. There's
Yeah.
something that's called like, anecdotal notes. So I can evaluate the student according to my observation
Observations. Yeah.
of the student. And again, the notion of a rubric,
Yeah.
to evaluate the student. For some parents, what is the rubric? What is that like?
The rubric shows the abilities uh, of the student. I said one of the things to communicate, other thing critical thinking. So there are different parts of the rubric, and the rubric is, and also we don't use grades like 80%, 70%, all of that for the formative assessments. It's, the grades are from 1 to 4. So 4 is like A and A plus, and 1 is like D. So this is important for the parents to understand. But the rubric is very clear because each part is explaining to the parents he is evaluated for what exactly. Okay? And like you said, formative and summative. Formative is still in the learning process. So the student is still learning. We didn't finish the unit yet. And summative will be at the end. So the formative that the parents will receive is showing to the parent the progress of the child, but still this is not the end of it. So some parents will panic and say, and it's vice versa, the parents will panic and say, okay, he got a D in the formative, and then they will panic. It's not yet the end of the unit. Still the summative will come, and maybe the student will be able to achieve what is needed from him or her. And sometimes it's the inverse. It will come that the student had an A in the 4 in the formative, and then summative it's a B or a C, and then the parent will panic again. Why? Because at a certain point the student couldn't achieve what he's asked to do at the end of the unit. So this is important to understand, that it's a system based on skills. The rubric will show the different skills of the student. It's not only skills based on reading, writing, it's critical thinking, it's communication. So this is important to be understood by the new parent who's coming to Ontario specifically.
Absolutely. But again here, like taking the role of the parents, not
Mhm.
my own personal, conviction, but trying to take the role of the parent here. And then uh, one of the parents might say, okay, you make these great presentations, whatnot, okay, but they're just empty. So you don't, give enough information to the children. And what good is it if I'm a good presenter, but I have nothing to present? Like, are you just trying to build their charisma? Is that it?
No, their personality, not their charisma. It's their, like I said, it's their skills, and these skills they will need to face the society later on. And they will discover while even during the high school, they will discover that all what the child or the student gathered before, it's useful now at grade 10 or 11 or 12. And at this age, most of the high school students in Canada, they start to work at the age of 14, 15, and to face the society, to learn other skills outside the school. We are even encouraging them to do this to build their personality. So it's not matter of charisma, it's matter of skills. Because imagine if this student will go out and in communication skills, there is a problem. In any job, it will be really a problem to continue and to progress and to be promoted and all of this. This is why even the communication, it's more important than the reading and the writing.
Absolutely. And let me just point to sort of allegations or like misconceptions that people might have towards education here in Canada. For instance, like very famous saying in China, they say that student cannot boil an egg.
Mm-hmm.
A student who is like in the senior stage in like secondary school, they cannot boil an egg because the only job of the child is to memorize and study, memorize and study, and the parents are like the slaves of the child. They just do it. We'll do everything for you, son or daughter, but all you have to do is study. But here, you know, children become much more mature and independent at a much younger age. And again, another very important thing, because work here in Canada is group work. It's not just an individual thing. So it's imperative for anyone who wants to work in group work is to have these, interpersonal skills and communication skills and ability to analyze and be open to differences.
Exactly. This is one of the most important things, and one of the values taught at schools is to accept the other, to accept anything different, and to really be open to new ideas. And this is very important.
And thank you for using the word accept, because again, two words that are usually used interchangeably, but actually they should not be, is acceptance and tolerance, and they're completely different. If I tolerate you, okay, I just sort of curb my anger or my refusal towards you, and okay, I can live with you, I tolerate you. But acceptance is no, I accept you and I enjoy you, really. And as they say here in Canada, we are strong, not in despite of our differences, but because of them.
Exactly.
So, differences is not considered as an impediment. It's not considered as an obstacle on the way. No, it is actually something that would spring us higher. It is something that would, push us forward. Really, it's a booster for our strength. These differences here.
Yeah, one of the most important values in Canada is multiculturalism, not melting pot like other countries.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, and so, three elements I want to ask you about here are: first thing is the evaluation of a teacher, and before the evaluation is how do you build a teacher? How do you create a successful teacher within the Canadian values? And then after that, how do you assess his or her performance?
Let's understand how a teacher can be licensed or certified. If I'm talking about Ontario, and I know that in the other provinces there is no big differences. So you have to have first a bachelor degree from university, and then 2 years, and it will become 3 years soon. And during the 2 years, the teacher is learning about the Canadian system, the curriculum, every detail, the way of teaching, how to prepare a rubric, what are the perceptions, how to evaluate the student, what are the skills that we are looking for in a student. So for 2 years, and then in 2 years, you will be either a primary teacher or a middle school or a high school teacher. So it depends about which way you want to take. And to be a high school teacher for a particular subject, you must have a bachelor degree related to the subject that you will teach at high school. So it's not an easy process at all. And after the teacher finished the Bachelor of Education, then we'll go through to be accepted by a school board. There is a lot of interviews. After the interviews, there will be training in a certified teacher classroom. And after this, at the first year, there will be a mentor who will guide this teacher to go through all this way to learn how really to evaluate a student and to be really to understand the curriculum parts. And after that, there is evaluation every 5 years. So it's not that, oh, I finished the first year, my mentor gave me a good rating, it's okay, I will be a teacher forever. No, every 5 years, and there is trainings every year. And there is an evaluation at the end of every school year also done by the principal.
Now, another very important point here is the mandate of the teacher. Like, how much space does a teacher have for creativity? So, is the teacher here in Canada given, so for grade 1, this is what you'll teach in mathematics, this is what you'll teach in science, and that's it? You must teach it exactly according to this way? Or is there some room for personal input and personal creativity?
There is a huge room for creativity. Mm-hmm. If you open any curriculum in Ontario, you're going to find that there are only the headlines. Example, in grade 1, the student has to learn to read a paragraph of 300 words. I'm giving an example, just an example. But it doesn't give the teacher the tools that will be used to get to this. So the teacher has to create his own tools. Of course, a new teacher will take tools from others, but after that, by the time the teacher will be able to create his own tools, depending on the group, there is the dynamic of each classroom is different. So at the beginning of every school year, the teacher will take like the first and second week to understand exactly the nature of the student that he or she has this year, and then will understand the dynamic of this class. And based on this dynamic, will create the tool that he will be using to get the same standard for the classroom for the whole students. So the creativity, it's really large for the teacher to create the tools.
So, like, the curriculum would just set, the broad lines, just the border, and mm-hmm. then he has all the ability and the freedom to move within. So the teacher is not only, like a mouthpiece for the curriculum or for the Ministry of, Education. No, he is a creator. He has his ability, and he's well equipped, well prepared for this,
mission. Yeah, it's his mission. Absolutely. Because the Ministry of Education will suggest some resources. That's it. But any teacher will find that these resources are not enough. You'll have to go and search and find more resources and discover what's new in your field. And every year, many added things will be there. So one of the most important part of the character of a teacher is to be flexible. Mm-hmm. Because you cannot be a good teacher if you are not flexible. You will be flexible because you're going to have many workshops and you will be learning all the time. So it's a learning process, not only for the student, it's for the student and the teacher.
Absolutely, and these are one of the most important values taught here in Canada. Like you talked about acceptance, like resilience. Having really the enough will, grit, resolve, integrity. All these are very very consistency. All these are very important values that are taught and that make a huge difference in any future human, because that's the end goal here. Now, moving from the teacher to the student, how is the student evaluated here in Canada? What are what do you expect from the student, and how can a student excel in the Canadian system?
To excel is really to follow what's happening in the classroom. So it's through the experience that the student is living in the classroom. In the norm, he will arrive to excel. But we are not looking for students getting, all of them getting A's. This is not the purpose of the education. The mission of the education is to get a minimum a B. This is the mission that you're going to find in every curriculum in Ontario. It's to have you are building in your classroom, activities, experiences, discussions. All of that is to work with the students to get them to a B level. Whoever will go more, of course, will be encouraged, and all of them are encouraged to do more. But it's not the purpose to have excellent students in all the subjects. It's not the purpose to have genius students. This is not the purpose of education. At the end, the teacher has to show that we appreciate whatever the student is giving to us back. And the student must be really feeling this kind of appreciation, that no one is a bad student and no one is an excellent student. All of them are good students because they are showing some knowledge of what they learned in the classroom.
And how about the relationship, or like sort of the rapport between the student and the teacher, like the relationship between both elements of education here in Canada? What is the nature of the relationship between the teacher and the student?
Most important thing is respect and trust. So the student must understand from the beginning that the teacher is not here representing just authority. It's not matter of relation of I am here to put you down. No, I am here just to be a companion for you during your knowledge and learning process. So I will be here to help you to achieve at the end what goal we want from you at the end of each year in school, but not as to tell you that, there is no negative comments. If you read any report card in Ontario, you're going to find that it's always encouraging the student to go further and more. There is no negative comment at all. Because if the student did his best and this is the result, we have to appreciate what he gave us.
And last but never least, and I think this is the most important thing here, is how does the Canadian society view education and view grades and view somebody who's graduated from university, somebody who graduated from college, somebody who had some kind of technical education, and all sorts of jobs here in Canada. How does the society perceive them?
They are all very well respected. It depends it doesn't matter if I am a perfect engineer or if I am a perfect plumber. It's at the end, it's what I am. I am perfect in whatever work I'm doing. So this is what we want from our students. We encourage them to discover their own skills during the process of education. And by discovering what they really are good at and what they want to do, this is the way that they will choose at the end.
And like vocational education and all sorts of things like that, they're very much welcomed here,
Of course.
and they are fully respected. So a waste collector is fully respected as a prime minister here in Canada. And
Of course.
you
Of
know,
course.
like you see jobs like a nurse, which is
Mhm.
considered like people would really not respect very much in other societies, but a nurse here is one of the very most respected jobs. People in Canada would respect a nurse more than a doctor.
Mhm.
Like a school bus driver is considered one of the most prestigious jobs because this school bus driver, he carries the lives of the future of Canada. So it's even like in the social or romantic side, even it's very common to see a lawyer woman who's married to a plumber or to an
Yeah.
electrician, and she's
Yeah.
so proud of him. She's so proud of him. And even on, if you go to any restaurant or cafe or whatever, you find on the same table a group of live friends, and there's a plumber, there's an electrician, there's a bus driver, there's a doctor, there's an engineer, there's a teacher, a lawyer, and they're all like sitting as equals, and they're very intimate friends.
Of course. And to have any job in Canada, you have to be certified.
Mm-hmm.
So even a plumber, the plumber has to be certified. So and has to go through some kind of education. So all of them, this is what we call professionals. They are professionals. So it's important to encourage the students to do whatever they want to do, whatever they really like or what they are good at. It's not to force them to study things that they are not like later when they finish grade 12.
And like grade 12 is not a nightmare. that
No,
and it's not something that haunts every family like in many other countries in the world. Because whatever the outcome is, you're still respected, you're still welcome in society.
yeah.
um,
A lot of students will decide not to go to universities or to a college and will decide to go to start working. And they are appreciated. If this is what they want to do in life, they are appreciated. And of course, later on, they can return back and go to a college or to university. So all the doors are open, all the possibilities uh, are available in Canada.
and I think a very important thing here again is that like public education is the norm here.
Mhm.
You don't have those private schools like being more prestigious or better. And
It's
again,
the opposite. It's completely the opposite.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, a teacher is very much respected, and he lives a very good life. So he is not in need for like sort of donations or support from the parents, from the wealthy parents, and he is not seeking to private tutor the student. So, despite the fact that he doesn't need anything from the parents and the students, but he still treats the student as an equal and gives a lot of space for and comfort for the student to discuss and to disagree
Mhm.
teacher, and it's not a shame for the teacher to say I don't know. That's absolutely
This is one of the reasons. This is really a very good point. How the teachers are treated by the government, how everyone looks to a teacher as a prestigious position with, let's say, over the average salaries. And this is why the teacher is in good standard. They don't need really to give private lessons. And this is why the Canadian system is successful. Because in other countries, when the situation is different, if we look to our neighbors in the United States, this is not the situation there. So the teacher will really not be in a good situation and will not be going to the job happy to do his mission.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And on the international scale, where is Canada in terms of education? Like, you know,
If we take the PISA assessment, it's by the United Nations. Canada is at the sixth country
it's a
in
pretty
the
high
world.
rank, actually. It's a pretty high ranking.
Yeah, it's very high rank because if we look to other school systems like the British, the American, the French ones, they go after this. The United States is the level 23
Hmm.
example.
Yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of people have these perceptions that they took from their country of origin and
Mhm.
unfortunately kept with them. And you know, these old perceptions tend to linger in their head forever, so that you know, United States of America, you know, the European Union and whatnot,
Yeah,
they're seen as the elite, and you would exalt yourself to in order to be you'd be really exalted to be like sort of try to you know be on their tail or like try to be as close as possible to them. While the way people see these names in Canada is very different. They see them
exactly.
as equals or even as subordinates, so which
Yeah.
is very different, really.
And we have really, as Canadians, to be proud. And if we think about the provinces, Ontario comes in 2018, Ontario came like number five. In some other years, it was number four. Alberta is always one of the 10 ranked places in the world for education. So we really have to appreciate the Canadian system.
Absolutely. And it's a very long topic. It's I know we can talk forever about it, but I really thank you very much for being with us here and shedding light on some of the very important things and showing us some things in the crypts and
Mhm.
delving deep into this topic. Really looking forward to having you again as our
We have to do one program about the French system.
absolument. Yeah, we can do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, like really, French is one of the official languages. Is this the second or like the first? You know, official language of Canada. So
And the
definitely,
difference between immersion schools and
absolutely,
public French, a lot of parents, they don't know the existence of the public French and they think that the immersion schools,
absolutely. That would be
yeah.
great pleasure, definitely. So, Iman Zehra, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. And dear viewers, if we were to sort of recap here, Canada is one of the seven most industrial, most advanced countries. So it is just, you know, like by very simple logic, it would be impossible for a country that is so advanced and a country that is always not on the very top in terms of, you know, like industry only, but in terms of quality of life. And there's a huge difference, by the way, between the standard of living and quality of life. There are a lot of countries that have a very high standard of living, but are very low in terms of quality of life. Because quality of life does not only include, you know, how much you get paid per month or like how big is your house. No, it talks about how free you are to think, how free you are to disagree, you know, how free you are to choose your path and how free you are to choose your career and be respected for it, regardless. Respect is a norm, is not an exception in Canada. So it's building a character, building a human being that will be part of leadership. Because in Canada, we have a responsible government. So the real governors of Canada are the Canadians themselves. So, as a Canadian, you're the boss, actually. The prime minister is not the boss. He's not. No, he is the public servant. He's the number one public servant. So, you are the boss. So, you need to be educated this way to be able to evaluate, to be able to differentiate, and to be able to disagree, and to know that there is no ultimate truth. nobody possesses the ultimate truth, and to be open to differences and to accept others and enjoy that. Dear viewers, thank you very much for being with us. Until we meet again, please take very good care.